Sam Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I know a lot of you came straight from work. I came straight from work. I'm a teacher. The school where I teach has recently been offering free beginner-level Khmer classes for the staff. And it's pretty cool. The course is mostly filled with people like me who have been in Cambodia for a while and therefore really don't have any excuse for still being beginners in Khmer. I mean, they might as well call it Khmer 101 for long-time expats. What you've actually been saying this whole time. I mean, for example, there's this one phrase that I learned shortly after I got here that goes, Tanek ai chui kinyom bante. Alright? What that's supposed to mean is, can you help me? But the way I've just slightly mispronounced it roughly translates to, shit, you fuck me. And as scary as it is to think of all the times I must have, got it all wrong, what really haunts me is the knowledge that there must also have been times I only got it half wrong, I imagine going up to a lady, like a nice old lady in the market, and saying to her, excuse me, shit, you fuck me? I'm sorry, I confused. Can you fuck me? Can you fuck me with this broom? Okay, hello. See you next time. A lot of you guys have probably noticed I'm growing my hair out a little bit. My friends tried to dissuade me from it. They were like, dude, you're gonna be really weird looking with long hair. But they were wrong. It turns out that anything that partially obscures my weird looking face is an improvement. I mean, it was either this or some combination of glasses, a surgical mask, and clown makeup. But I think the hair suits me, Ladies are always telling me it looks good, which is really what counts. Some ladies even think it's sexy. Guys tell me it looks good as well. And they sometimes think it's sexy until they finally catch up to me at a stoplight and realize that I'm a dude. Now, I can totally get how I would be mistaken for a woman. I mean, it's not just my long, beautiful tresses that are throwing people off. I mean, I also have delicate, androgynous features like a movie star. I also have a kind of a svelte and lithe build like a figure skater. And plus a prostitute in a club once told me that I dance like a ladyboy. Now, a bit of context, it's really common to encounter prostitutes in the clubs out here. And on that night, it was at a point when I really wasn't very good at dancing in high heels. Much better now. But my point is, I'm not trying to say that because sex trafficking is really common out here, that makes it any less sad or appalling. I mean, I just think of it as kind of a sad and appalling fact of the nightlife. I mean, one time, my brother had some friends in town on business, and they insisted on taking us out to a club using their expense accounts. And it was pretty nice, we sprung for the full VIP treatment. We rolled up to the club in a Prius with a driver and nice Toyota Prius. We got a booth with bottle service. But the problem was that since we looked like such high-rolling international playboys, what have you, we attracted the attention of what seemed like every single prostitute in that club. Like, we didn't pay them any mind, but pretty soon the crowd of prostitutes hanging out in front of our booth had spread all the way back to the bar, and it was so thick that people couldn't get through. I realized we had caused what might be termed a sex traffic jam. I thought that was crazy. I told all my colleagues at work about that the next day, and all they said was, "Wow, that's awesome. You got to ride in a car?" Was it a Toyota Prius? You know, I never thought that the most shocking thing about sex workers to me would be the very frequency with which I encounter them. I mean, back in the US, that would never happen. I mean, I was in college before I saw so much as an off-duty stripper with all her clothes on, you know? In the US, you can't get into a strip club until you're 21 because they serve alcohol there. So for a long time, all I knew from strip clubs was what I had picked up from TV and from a friend of mine who had actually been to one. Now, he told me that where he lived, the ladies couldn't get fully naked in any establishment that served alcohol. Now, the local law required them to wear, I guess, pasties over their nipples and boy shorts. Now, it turns out boy shorts are a type of women's underwear. I did not know that at the time. So what I was picturing was a club full of semi-topless women wearing the sort of short pants that I would have worn during my boyhood. You know, it got me thinking, hey, you know, it would be cool to get a lap dance from a lady wearing basketball shorts and feel all swishy, you know? And like those shorts with the pant legs that zip off, I mean, come to think of it, those really do lend themselves to stripping. I mean, I defy you to name a more dramatic or sexy way to suddenly reveal your calf and shin. You know, I was thinking if a dancer were to wear cargo shorts, she could fit a lot of tips in there. She could get tipped in coins, right? Like, she would make so much more money if patrons could be like, oh, here's $1.50. I'm just gonna un-Velcro your pocket there. So anyways, I remember one time, a bunch of my college buddies and I were still underage. We were like 18 or 19 years old, and we were hanging out in New York City one night and decided we should try to find a strip club that would let us in without having the proper ID. And it wasn't until we'd already whipped out our laptops to search for strip clubs that didn't check ID cards that it dawned on me that as intriguing and awesome as strip clubs sounded, I had no interest in actually going to one. Like, don't get me wrong, as I sat there on my laptop, I realized that while I do appreciate the female form, I just prefer to do my appreciating in private, you know, with a woman that I care about, or with my laptop. So I didn't want to seem lame and flake out, and so rather than admit I didn't want to go to a strip club, I just started searching for clubs that sounded like strip clubs, alright? I searched for gay bars that don't card. It's pretty cool, you know, my friends, I just went up to them just like, hey, I found a place that doesn't card. It's called Mystique, and it is a strip club. They bought it because rather than admit that they hadn't found anything, they just decided to go with everything I suggested. They're like, oh yeah, Mystique, yeah, I found that one too, it sounds really hot. Oh yeah, the back door, that doesn't sound like the... Now that doesn't sound like the type of place that would check IDs, so let's go! Hey! You know, my buddies still ended up having a good time because they got served alcohol. And they were such lightweights that as the night wore on, I became more and more audacious with the names of the places that I would recommend, you know? It got to a point where I was just like, hey, let's go to the Fireman's Pole. Strippers dance on those or something. That's why it's called that. Hey, let's go hit up the Manhole. men like it there because it's full of strippers or something. So, like a lot of expats out here, my roommates and I can afford to pay a pretty comfortable wage to a maid who comes to our house a few times a week. Now, our maid's name is Sokni, but she has us call her a name that translates to auntie who is the same age as my mom, because she's about 18 years older than us. And Sokni is great. She shows up at my house before I wake up, and she leaves after I go to work. So she's actually retained this deep aura of mystery throughout the whole time she's worked for us. You know, I mean, I never see her come or go or even clean. She just seems like this mystical figure who materializes in your apartment, makes your life better, and then flits off to help the next person. Like, even the way she came and went was a mystery to me. I was shocked the first time I saw her riding a motorbike in town. I realized that up to that point, I had just been picturing her floating down out of the clouds each morning on a cell card umbrella and, you know, just alighting on my balcony like a Cambodian Mary Poppins. Yeah, Sokni's great. You know, sometimes she brings her daughter, her young daughter, to come help her clean houses. And I will admit it's a little weird having a 12-year-old pick up after me, but I figure it's not quite child labor because my brothers and I used to help my mom clean a house when we were kids. She would get us ice cream in exchange for that. So in order to reassure myself that I'm not benefiting from child labor, I always keep some ice cream in the freezer for Sokni's daughter. Yeah. And I always say to Sokni, before I go to work, I'll say, "Oh, excuse me, auntie who's the same age as my mom? There's ice cream in the freezer, so your daughter shit go fuck herself." She can go fuck herself. She can go fuck herself, Sokni. Okay, hello, see you next time.